Howdy do, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome to episode 298.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the Doctor!
For now, for this moment, I am the Doctor again.
The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour, and I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I could be a curator. I'd be great at curating. I'd be the great curator. I could retire and do that.
I'm the Doctor. I've lived for over 2,000 years, and not all of them were good. I've made many mistakes. It's about time that I did something about that.
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe.
Hey, Who fans. Hope you're all well, keeping safe and healthy. And that you've all managed to do something Doctor Who related. Welcome to episode 298. It's great to have you all here. And I do mean that. I hope you're all keeping safe and healthy in whatever lockdown fun you're having. Yes. 298, bud.
I know. Rocketing towards 300.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What will we do? Will there be a big party, or will it be very low key? And 300. Yeah. So what? 300.
Yeah. Welcome, Who fans. Yep.
Or will it be?
I suppose we better do 300. Yep.
The end. Just have the Watcher waiting for us.
The Watcher, yeah. Every now and then, for the past couple of weeks, I've seen him up on the roof of the houses across the way. I'm like, this does not bode well at all. No. We've seen how this goes. The moment being prepared for. We know how it goes.
That's it.
Well, we should do by now. Yes.
The Watcher.
So yeah, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back. And dude, it's been a very quiet week. Again, for Doctor Who. We seem to have ebbs and flows, don't we, this year? Well, so far this year. It was certainly like that last year, where we'd go for weeks on end and there'd be no news and nothing really to talk about. And then all of a sudden there'd be loads of stuff. There'd be like a new announcement from the BBC, and then there'd be a really cool bit of merch, and then there'd be a video game announcement and all that. But we seem to be one of those lows again. Now that we had all the drama's out the way, isn't it? From the rumours about Jodie leaving and all that jazz, it's all died down now. All that's gone, and there's just not much to talk about. The only one thing I've seen, I saw a trailer on YouTube last night for a new video game. Oh, not a full-on console game, but it's a mobile game.
Oh yeah,
from Doctor Who, and it looks kind of cool. It's one of those games where you do it on your phone, and then it's like a mock. Sort of, you get emails from Osgood, and then there's other things you have to do, and it's a bit of augmented reality and that sort of thing. It does look kind of cool.
Yeah. I'm just laughing because you know how rubbish I am at games. I don't go near them.
This is true, Who fans. Adam is not the...
terrible.
Yeah. So The Lonely Assassins is what the game's called. And so basically it's one of these things where you have to decipher. It's like a found phone kind of thing, where you have to go through all the footage and emails and everything, and and track it all down. It's basically centered around the events after Blink, Wester Drumlins, that location and all that stuff. And
yeah.
So it's around that time. And I think the dude that starred in it, the guy that owns the video shop, the brother of
yes, I remember.
Sally.
Yeah.
I think he's in it. I think he's in the game. I think he's filmed a few little scenes and stuff like that. So that's coming in spring, which might be cool to check out. That's going to be
Sally Sparrow in it.
Sally, she could be, but I haven't seen her in the trailer or anything. But she could be, yeah. But that might be something to pass the time. That's not out until spring, though. It's a bit ambiguous. Spring. It could be, I don't know. It could be March. It could be April. I don't know. It'll be around that time.
I mean, I'm more inclined to play that if it's on the phone than a sort of games console, because I might actually be able to do it if it's fairly easy to. I just don't have any patience for computers at all.
I don't have any patience for computers.
As soon as I die once or maybe twice, that's it. I'm done. I'm like, no, I've had enough now. I've just got very little tolerance with computer games. I still haven't played that VR one. The one that I started playing and actually was really enjoying, ironically, until I felt sick from wearing the headset. What's it called? Edge of Time or something? The new 13th one.
You play that on the PlayStation VR, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I actually was quite enjoying that, and I was doing all right because that was all about finding clues, and there's this big old alien in a washing machine that was trying to get out, and I was like looking around and everything. You feel like you're in the room, and I was like, this is really cool. And then after 10 minutes, I was like, I feel really sick because you get that motion sickness, don't you? That's it. I haven't been back since. So that creature's still waiting for me in the washing machine, I think.
Right. Yeah, the Edge of Time.
Level 1.
Yeah,
the Edge of Time. Yeah, it is really good. I wish you could play it without wearing the headset because it's the motion thing. I can't deal with it. It makes me feel ill.
Yeah, I read you. I think we're well overdue a proper big Doctor Who video game that's made by a decent publisher and studio.
Yeah.
Because in terms of video games, if it's done properly, and any gamers out there will know what I'm talking about. Anyone that listens that's into like big open world games will know that a Doctor Who big open world game would be amazing, like a massive RPG open world thing. The scope for a video game of that size would be it would be crazy big to but they have started to develop other things like that. There's a new there was meant to be a new Harry Potter video game out this year, but they pushed it back to next year. That would be cool. That they've made that into a big kind of open worldy sort of experience.
Yeah.
And it would just be really cool just to play as your version of the Doctor. And you could travel across all sorts of different planets and locations throughout the world of Doctor Who, throughout time and everything. I mean, it would be huge and be amazing. But for the last few years, the only thing we've had really is a slew of mobile games, which is not a bad thing. They're good little time passers that you can play for 20 minutes, half an hour. And then these VR games, but the VR stuff's not that accessible. Not everyone's got the VR side of things, and Xbox consoles don't have VR. So it's limited to PlayStation Pro people with the VR, or if you've got a high-powered PC, you can do it. So, yeah, I think we're well overdue, like a proper mainstream, decent video game for Doctor Who. That would be amazing.
Doctor Who really is perfect for that sort of game as well, isn't it? Because you can literally do anything with Doctor Who. You can go anywhere. I mean, it's perfect for like that, like you said, a big budget game. Our good friend Morg sent me some pictures of, so they're developing a new interactive, like a sort of a live game, isn't it? I don't know what you call it, but interactive. We spoke about it recently. They've started building the sets for it, where you go in and you have to go in different rooms and.
Oh,
like an escape room. Yeah, I suppose so. Right. Yeah, I don't really know. He sent me some pictures the other day that says looking pretty cool. But of course, with being in lockdown, that could be ages away. But again, that's the sort of thing that suits Doctor Who, isn't it? Yeah. Actually getting to be part of it. Yeah. Yeah. You got a little bit of that in the Doctor Who experience. Do you remember when you first go in and they play you some stuff on a video screen, and then you sort of walk through sort of some sets, and there's weeping angels sort of jump out at you and stuff, and before you actually got to the exhibition. That was pretty cool. I mean, it's very sort of basic stuff, but it was really cool, wasn't it? you remember the big old red Dalek coming out? Like,
yeah.
Animatronically being wheeled out. And then it wheels back in. So obviously done it like 100 times a day. And
That was so good. Yeah. And then because they had 3 different rooms, didn't they? They had you went through, you had the Weeping Angels bit, and that was really creepy. And then you had the Daleks bit, and then the final bit, I think we were on the TARDIS set, and they encouraged all the kids
you get to walk on the TARDIS set and it shakes.
Yeah, and they encouraged all the kids to come first and feel like they're flying the TARDIS. They had all the controls and dude.
And then do you remember the end bit? It's another bit on the screen where it's sort of almost 3D, because I remember a big Dalek plunger comes out the screen at you or something. Why? Is that my mind playing tricks? That is right. That did happen, didn't it? Yeah.
Well, they changed it slightly, didn't they? Because first of all, when it first opened, I think it was, they played this film which was really good, but it was the Matt Smith version. And then when Capaldi became the Doctor, they redid it, and they had it was Capaldi basically taking you through the story, that interactive bit at the beginning, and then the sets and stuff. But both of them are really good, really good. I miss that place so much, buddy.
Am I right? Did Lala Ward do the first video bit that when you go in, was that Lala Ward doing the voiceover, or was it somebody else? Can't remember, because I remember there's a really nice little monologue before, like the very first bit where you're in a dark room and somebody does this sort of voiceover bit. I think it was Lala Ward.
Yeah, you could be right. It was,
Sort of shows all Gallifrey and stuff. I can't remember now, but that was amazing. But I mean, that's just the start of it, and then you'd get through that, and then you'd be into the actual exhibition, and with all the costumes, there'd be like a Yeti in front of you, and Davros is on your right, and you've got like, I don't know, a Vok robot to your left, and Mr. Sweet's in a little cabinet in the corner, and oh no, it's just too much.
Yeah, I've got some good memories of that place. It was
we had it so good, didn't we?
Yeah, I think I went there 3 times in the end. I think I did it 3 times, and it was just really, just the whole vibe of being in Cardiff as well at that time was so good, because I remember the first time I went there, we were down at the bay and we was walking around, having a look around. I got some really cool other things to look at as well as Doctor Who down there, and some nice restaurants and whatnot. And we're walking around, and it was just really cool because you'd see just a ton of people in Doctor Who t-shirts, even some cosplayers. And it was just normal. Like everybody that worked in that area of Cardiff around at the bay, it was just completely normal to them. Seeing people in cosplay about Doctor Who or various hoodies and t-shirts, you could spot them a mile off, the Doctor Who fan.
Oh, yeah.
But it was completely normal. Yeah.
Did you go to Eddie's Diner?
On the second, not as part of that, but one time we were in Cardiff,
Yeah, because that's sadly gone now. I loved it when I went there. Yeah. I was going to say, I only went, so I went to the London, when it was in London, I went to the exhibition, which was slightly different. I think that might have been the Matt Smith era. And then they moved it to Cardiff, and I only got to go once. And like you said, I was just in heaven, because you're walking through Cardiff and you see the Millennium Centre, and then there's the big water fountain thing, which is the Torchwood entrance, and it's like, oh wow, I'm here. This is a real place. It's amazing, and you just feel like you've stepped into an episode of Doctor Who. Amazing. And then obviously you have the big experience just around the corner. It's a really cool, unusual building as well, and it's like a big. Was it blue or it must be blue? Yeah,
blue and grey. Yeah,
sort of oddly shaped building.
Yeah, it was great. It was.
And there was a TARDIS in the water as well. I seem to remember, it's just sort of randomly on a pole in the middle of the water. There's a full size TARDIS, wasn't there?
Yeah, as you were walking up to it, there was a little path that led down to the bay, and there was a full scale proper TARDIS there. But the building was amazing. It was this big scaffolded thing, and then they had draped this really sort of hard wearing canvas, I suppose. It's grey and blue colour over it. So because of that, it had this really nice curved, sort of nice flowing shape to it. And
sorry,
it was a lot bigger as well. I know that is definitely a pun intended, but when you went inside, there was a lot more stuff in there than what it looked like from the outside.
Yeah, it was a bit like a real life TARDIS, in other words. Did you get to go to the, they did like, you could go on a set tour, so you could go to Capaldi's TARDIS. They only did it at certain times of the year, didn't they? Did you get to do that?
No, I didn't, unfortunately. I'd love to have done it, but I didn't catch that. No.
I was lucky, because I obviously only went to Cardiff once. I've only ever been once in my life, and I tell you, I blimmin' loved it. I must go back one day. I just had such a great weekend down there. I was lucky because they were only doing that. So I suppose because they were probably using it for filming, that'd be why, wouldn't they? So when they weren't filming, they would allow people to do like a set visit. And I got to go on the TARDIS console, which is pretty amazing because they let you walk all the way. So you go in through the doors, walk around the console, then you go down to the sort of bottom bit of the console and walk out the door at the bottom. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Gosh, man, the memories.
Oh, no, bud. Yeah, and they put some pictures on the website Wales Online. They normally covered a lot of stuff that was happening around the experience when it was closing down. And their final article they put up about it was just called The Doctor Experience in Cardiff being dismantled or taken down or something. And you saw like all the plastic sheeting being taken off and all literally they just dismantled the entire thing and now it's just a car park, I think.
Oh no.
Or it's just a flat bit of land or something. Yeah, it's heartbreaking, man. It really is. But
where is it? I wonder where all the stuff is. Like, where's the TARDIS console gone? And
the Moff's got it. The Moff's got it in the carriage.
Yeah. He's driving around in Bessie in his 10-acre garden.
He would have turned up, wouldn't he, with his mates with a couple of hire vans. They're not going to turn him away. Like, you know me, you know who I am. I've been tasked with taking this all to the BBC warehouse. Just leave it with me. It's all fine.
Leave it with me.
Yeah, he's probably got it in a private storage somewhere. It's like, come on, Moff, we need this back. Not on my watch.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, good times, man. Good times.
Very good times. Yeah. I hope we do see some of that again. I mean, yeah, if we talk about that, I mean, it makes me think of the festival and all that sort of stuff. Oh, mate, great times.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully we've got some of that to come in the future. That'd be good.
Yeah, once we get back to some sort of normal, we'll be back on the convention circuit and doing all that stuff, I'm sure. Yeah. The only other thing I've done, dude, just to wrap up with Doctor Who stuff, is I've watched a certain person's YouTube video.
Oh, stop it.
Really digging the old the autograph collection. And I noticed this was only part one, which is bloody incredible because that video is about 20 minutes long.
I know.
And Adam's got about 1 million autographs in this video over 20 minutes, and it's only part one.
I thought it would be a really simple video to do. I thought, because people were saying, I've been trying to think of something I could do for a video. People were like, I'd love to see your autographs. I thought, yeah, that's nice and easy. Just showing you my autographs. Yeah, great idea. And I thought, I got a couple of folders. I'll just whip through those. And I did sort of one folder and started editing it and realised it was already 20 minutes long. I was like, well, there's no way this is going to be like 2 hours long. So I thought I'd just do it a folder at a time. But even I hadn't realised quite how many I'd got, because I suppose I've been collecting for 20, 30 years, dude. It's amazing. I am surprised. Because I started putting them into order as well. I thought, well, they're all over the place, autographs. I've got to collect them together. I want to make sure I get them all in the vid. And once I started going through them, I said to my other half, I'm just going to be upstairs for half an hour. I need to sort these autographs out. And I was up here for nearly 2 hours, just on, putting them out on the bed. Oh, that's a Doctor Who one. That's a Blake 7. Oh, there's a Star Wars one there. Oh, Kenny, yeah. And, mate, it's been really fun looking through them again, though. It's, it's really amazing to some of the people I've met over the years.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed doing that. But I've struggled to film part 2 because our neighbours are building an office. And there's quite a lot of building noise at the minute. So, yesterday, every time I started to film, I thought, it seems... Yeah, no, it's just quite quiet at the minute. I think I'm good to go. And I'd start doing it, and then it'd be like, blimmin' X. So it's. I don't know when part 2 will be. I'll probably stagger them through the year. So you probably get part 2 in a couple of months. I don't know.
It's very cool, man. And there was there was one autograph that was amazing. It was obviously great that you got the autograph, but I think it was Phil Maddock.
Oh, Philip Maddock, yeah.
The artwork that you got him to autograph is amazing, dude. I don't know where you got that from, but
it was just on his table. It was something he had a couple of prints on his table.
Ah, right.
It's what really I loved about him. Yeah, it's a nice one. I mean, but what I loved about Philip was he had the little Morbius creature. He had a figure of it in his top pocket, and so that's what I always remember from meeting him. And he was a lovely man as well. But yeah, I've tried to, and also I've watching the videos back because there's so much I could say about every single autograph, but I want it. Like you said, it's 20-minute long as it is, and I'm only saying a sentence or two on each autograph. But I was watching it back thinking, I forgot to say about they said this, and I forgot to say that. But it would be 3 hours long if I chatted on each one. And also, I don't like jump cuts. I'm not a fan of YouTube videos where they don't even get through a sentence without having a jump cut. So they say, hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, and it cuts, and it drives me crazy. So I'm trying to do it as one thing without any jump cuts. So there might be one or two. So I'm trying to just do it on the fly, really, because that's just the way I like to do it. But it's not easy, because then you find yourself rushing and you forget to say things, and you're like, oh no, I forgot to say that he did this or he said that. But anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun to get back behind the camera, do some vids.
No, it's good. It's very good. And
I'm glad you enjoyed it, though.
No, it's great. Yeah, it was fascinating seeing just years worth of autographs that you've got stashed away. And yeah, talking of the Doctor Who experience, that was the next video that came up. The old YouTube
really?
Algorithm that suggested the next video I watch was your rundown of the festival.
Oh, the festival one.
The Doctor Who festival, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you meant the experience one. Yeah, I know it's weird when I check into my sign into YouTube, it comes up all the vids, and gosh, there's some stuff on there I've forgotten about. I haven't really done much else this week, mate. The only thing I did was I got Doctor Who magazine arrived yesterday. It's a good issue this month. It's all focusing on the Target novel books, which we both love. It's a good issue this month, and it comes with like this free Target novel. Although actually, what it is, it's just excerpts from other Target novels, so it's not like a new story or anything. It's like a sampler, I guess is the best way, but it's still cool. And you get the best thing about it is you get a free. Well, actually, no, it's not free because the magazine's more expensive this month. But you get a giant poster, which is 2-sided, and it's all the Target book covers. Right. So on one side, it's all like the original covers, and you turn it round, and you've got all the reissued covers, and it's probably worth buying for that alone. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous poster.
Cool.
It's the sort of thing, if I was around sort of between the ages of like 8 or 15, I would have had that on my wall in a shot, and I would have been, which side do I put up? I probably need to buy 2 because I want to put both sides up. But yeah, unfortunately, being a grown adult, you look at the other half and say, this would look good on the wall, when you get a shake of the head and you fold it away and put it back in its wrapper. But it's a cool poster. Nat wouldn't let you put that up, would she?
Well, in my own office.
Oh, no, yes, you could put it up in your office, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, she wouldn't allow me to put it. Well, say allow. She wouldn't be very keen if I said, I'm just going to put this in the... Yeah, I'm just going to put this in the hallway, or I'm going to put this in the bathroom. She'd be like, if you couldn't, that would be really helpful and good. But yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got anywhere to put it, but it's a lovely poster.
Yeah.
But that's been it for me.
Good times, yeah. Okay, so before we move on to our review then, talking of Adam's channel, remember to go and subscribe over at The Geek's Handbag at YouTube. Just do a search for it, or there's a link on the website. Adam's got, as well as this video, just a ton of very, very cool geek videos over there. So go and check that out. And Adam's on the socials too, under the same name, on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, The Geek's Handbag. Go and seek him out. Give him a like and a follow. And remember to subscribe to our podcast. If you are just listening to this fresh, this is your dipping your toe in the water. It's great to have you here. Also great to have our long-time listeners and those guys back as well. But if this is your first time, we'd love to have you as a subscriber. So whatever app you listen to your podcast on, we'd love to have you as a sub. That way you won't miss a show when it lands every single Friday. And we have a website which is packed full of stuff, bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. Go and, I should say, it's not the Big Blue Podcast, it's just www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can link off to all the various podcast apps from there. You can also listen to all of our previous shows. Every episode is on there. Plus, we have a ton of really good reviews and other articles from our writing team. Those guys, they put stuff out every week, so they're really interesting reads. Go and check that out. We had Jordan. He put out he does these series pitches where if he was employed as showrunner, he lays out in very great detail all of the storylines and characters if he was in charge. And the most recent one that he did the other day was for Torchwood, Series 1 Resurrection, and there's loads of really cool stuff in there, so give that a read. And then Maria did a rundown of some recent stuff that's happened in Who. She gives her opinion on John Bishop as a new companion and some other bits like the new season 24 set and the new book that's being reprinted from Andrew Cartmel, the Script Doctor book, which has got a really cool cover.
Yeah, very striking.
Yes. So go and check that out. We're on the socials as well, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Links on the website, or go and check that out. And we also have a free Discord server as well. There's a link on the website. Come and hang out and chat Doctor Who with other Doctor Who fans. It's all good. So that's all that stuff. Let's get on to our review, dude. What have we got this week?
Yeah, so it's time to say goodbye to the Ponds in The Angels Take Manhattan.
Hello, old friend. And here we are. You and me. On the last page.
Statues, the man said. Living statues that moved in the dark.
But you don't believe that statues can move. And you're right, Mr. Garner. They can't. Of course they can't. When you're looking.
New York is policed by angels. Every time you try to escape, you get zapped back in time. The city that never sleeps. The angels will come. I think they're coming for you.
Doctor, what is it? What's wrong? Tell me. Why is it smiling?
Displacing someone back in time creates time energy, and that is what the angels feed on.
What the hell are you doing?
Any ideas?
Run. But also don't look while you're running, because you're not supposed to blink or anything.
Don't blink.
The Angels Take Manhattan. It was first broadcast back on the 29th of September 2012. It was part of Series 7, the halfway point, the mid-series finale. And it was written by the Moffbag, directed by Nick Hurren, stars the normal crew at that time, Matt Smith, Karen Gill and Arthur Darvill, half a dozen supporting cast members, and they are on a trip to New York. Obviously, it all goes horribly wrong, as they've sent Rory off to get coffee. You never do that.
No,
in New York, you never go for coffee solo. You always take someone with you. But yeah, he goes off to get coffee, gets distracted by stuff. I say stuff. Weeping Angels, of course, they're back in the story. That's where he finds... he gets sent back to the 30s, essentially, by the Weeping Angels. And then later on, that's where he meets his daughter of the time, I suppose, River. She puts the book together that the Doctor ends up reading and blah, blah, blah. That helps them to find where Rory is. It's kind of cool. And it also helps the Doctor much later on to have a nice little goodbye message from Amy. But anyway, essentially New York is the hunting ground for the Weeping Angels, because there's billions of statues everywhere, including the Statue of Liberty. They're all angels. They're all up to no good. And it's essentially a goodbye story for the Ponds while River is doing her thing. It's like a farewell story. Anyway, what did you think to The Angles Take Manhattan, as some people type it?
Well, I wasn't expecting too much from this. I don't remember it leaving a massive impact on me at the time. I think I thought it was a fairly good send-off for the Ponds, but I didn't really remember an awful lot from it. I think in my memory it was quite a messy episode. I don't think I really got it on a first watch. But watching this again last night, I actually quite enjoyed it. There's a lot of plot holes in it, heck of a lot. But it didn't bother me, actually. I found myself getting quite sort of wrapped up in what was going on, and it's weird. I buy into the Ponds relationship more now, rewatching the episodes, than I did at the time. I don't know why that is. I actually really like the Ponds. I mean, I liked them at the time, but I really like them now. I think because at the time I didn't like all the sort of flirty stuff between Amy and the Doctor, and I didn't like the way she treated Rory at times. Then you had that weird bit in the middle where did they get divorced or they split up or something? So there was all that stuff. But when you rewatch it, there is a bit of an arc there where they actually sort of realise that they do love each other. And I do like that. And I found the bit on the rooftop very emotional, actually. I think it got more to me rewatching this yesterday. I found it really moving. Whereas I don't remember feeling like that. So I remember thinking, oh, that's a nice, scene. But it's, maybe I'm just getting old, but it really pulled on the heartstrings watching this yesterday. I thought it was very good. But yeah, there's a million plot holes in it. It's not the best story. the angels kind of start off scary, but then come a bit they just sort of in the background for a lot of it. So they're not really utilised that well. But I did enjoy it. I just found it a very watchable episode, very beautifully filmed. Like direction was lovely, and the music, I think, really helps. Murray's score in this really brings the episode alive, but mostly the cast, I think, is what it is. It just the cast seemed really firing on all cylinders, especially Matt as usual. And I even like Riversong in this. I know a lot of people say she's annoying, which yes, she can be written to be annoying, but I actually quite liked her in this. There's the stuff with her arm, which we will go into later because there's a bit of a regeneration thing going on there, which we need to discuss. But no, overall, I enjoyed this. It's not the best episode. It's a lot of plot holes, but it looked great. The cast were great. And I kind of like the fact that Moff does something different with the send-off. Like, it doesn't really work because he's saying the Doctor can't visit them, and there's a million ways around that, I'm sure. So that's a bit of a plot hole. But I like the fact he tried something different. He didn't just kill them off, and they didn't just say, "Oh, I've had enough, I'm off," and leave. He sort of found something, a different way for the companions to exit, which was, in a way, heartbreaking. If you don't think too much about it, if you don't sort of think around the plot holes, it's a really heartbreaking way for the Doctor to lose Amy and Rory. So, yeah, not perfect, but I liked it. Over to you, big man. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I've got to say that the last 10 minutes, I think, the last 10 minutes was really good. Really, really good. The rest of it, dude, I've got to say I was just bored out of my mind.
Really? Bored? Okay.
Really bored. Which is surprising because I was never a huge fan of the story anyway. The multiple times that I've watched it before, but the more I watch it, the more bored I get, and it's really surprising because the Weeping Angels are such an awesome, like they're such a good monster within Doctor Who. But I can't help feeling in this one though. I don't know why, but I just feel they're just not effective in this, which is weird because they're used in the same way as the previous stories we've seen them. But I think in those other stories, there was more of a build-up. There was more suspense to actually seeing the Weeping Angels and them do their thing. There was always that element of you were told what they could do and their dangers and how frightening they were. But it wasn't until later on in those episodes that the angels actually started to become a threat and really scary. Previous to that point in those other stories, the other two, they were just, you would see them in the background, and then you'd be like, will they, won't they? Whereas in this story, right from the off, you see their faces change and move around, and so by the time I got to the end of the story, it was just they've become, throughout the story, they became too commonplace. So it got to the point where they just weren't scary anymore. And the whole Statue of Liberty thing is just,
it's ridiculous.
It's a great idea. It really is. It's a great idea. But the fact that there's no panic in New York because the Statue of Liberty has moved from its base and is now walked across the city, even if it happened in a split second, you would assume that New York City would be in a complete tiz and crazy because it's just not there anymore. But now it's like at this other point in the city and it's by this building. So, but everything's just calm, there's no, there's nothing, I don't know. It's just,
I've got to laugh because I think when Moffat came up with that, I bet he thought that was a superb idea, and he's probably really pleased with himself. I think it is a nice idea. It just doesn't. It's like a lot of this episode. It doesn't bear sort of scrutiny, if you like. But I can imagine him writing it and getting it filmed, and then someone phoning him saying, "Stephen, the Statue of Liberty is not actually made of stone. It's it's not actually a statue." But no, I mean, it's a nice idea, but like a lot of this episode, it just doesn't you just don't think about it too much. But I know what you mean. It's ridiculous.
It is,
and it doesn't really work. But I find it a fun idea.
I'm
going to give the Mothball a free pass on this one. I'll do it. You don't have to. But I'm going to give him a pass on this because I find it a fun idea, even though it's ludicrous.
Yeah, that is ludicrous. And there are times, and bloody hell, mate, across so many stories of Doctor Who, there are times where you have to just go with it. You can't get hung up on the smaller details, otherwise you'll never enjoy anything. So I get that, and I'm not, but this, for me, it's a real standout, ridiculous thing that is a lovely idea, and it does, it just doesn't seem to work as well as it should do, because when they're inside the building, they can hear this massive thumping, crashing sound. But that doesn't quite make sense because they're inside the building, so nobody can see the Statue of Liberty. So it would have just zapped, like, from where it was on its base right to the edge of the building in one thing. Because no one's looking at it. But it seems to sort of plod along and it's almost like the Jurassic Park films when the T-Rex is coming up and you hear these big thuds and stuff and it's like, wow, something's coming. But that doesn't seem to obey the rules of how the Weeping Angels move, because, you know what I mean? They can't see it. So it would have just zapped immediately to their location. There wouldn't have been any of this. So I'm contradicting myself. Sometimes you have to.
I get why you are, though.
Yeah, you have to forget you have to forget the in-depth detail sometimes of how things work in Doctor Who, but for me it's just a big one. But so overall, dude, this is the least favourite of the Weeping Angels stories that we've had, and I'm just desperately bored, mate, as we're going through the story. There's no point in the story where I'm like, oh no, don't go in that room, or
not even the bit with Rory with the cherubs. When he's lighting the matches. I thought that was great.
No, I mean that was well done, definitely that bit. But by that point, we'd already seen half a dozen angels doing their thing, and so by the time you get to that scene with Rory, you already expect and know what's going to happen. There's no build up to that really scary scene with Rory. So yeah, by the time we get to that point, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, the matches are going to go out, obviously. And then they're going to move when the matches are not lit.
How does it? Yeah, that little baby one blows out the match. I got to agree with you about the angels. It's weird because I think the angels are difficult to film and make scary because they are a static thing, and it's hard to make a static thing scary. So they put that sort of jumpy sound effect on, but it doesn't seem to work in this story like it did in Blink. Like in Blink, they jump forward and you get that sound effect, and it seems more scary. I don't know why, because I think the direction's great in this, but the angels. In Flesh and Stone, for example, they tried something different, didn't they? Do you remember they made the actors slightly move? So I think I'm right in saying that's the only story where we've seen the angels moving. I personally liked that, but a lot of people didn't. A lot of people said, no, we shouldn't see them move. It's better if they're just a statue and they jump. But I personally liked, because it was really subtle. You just saw the head slowly move, and then, I liked it. But they don't do it again, and I think perhaps they felt like it was a mistake to show them move. But then if you don't do that, they are just a static prop that you're moving in. And the only time I do find the angels scary in this story is the very beginning when the chaps, the reporters in the lift, and it sort of jumps forward in the lift or whatever. I thought, oh, yeah, that's good. But then the rest of the story, I will agree with you, even though I enjoyed it, the angels aren't scary at all. And I just think it's down to the fact that, like you said, there's almost too many of them, so it becomes a bit silly that you can just run away from it when there's so many angels everywhere. Like, how are they not pouncing on people, and how are they even getting where they are and stuff like that? So yeah, they definitely do lose their threat in this story compared to Blink and even Flesh and Stone, I think, because of that. But the other bit that's scary with the angels is, I think, with the bit with River. I really like the bit when the guy turns the light off and it grabs River's arm in that split second.
Oh, that was quite
trapped.
Cool.
Yeah, she's trapped in that thing, and I think that's the best way to make the angels scary, is to do stuff like that. You can't just keep turning off the lights and bringing them closer to the camera, and because that's only works so many times, and we've seen it too much at this point. So you've got to do something different with them. So, and I think maybe that's what it is. They've run out of things to do other than have the angel keep getting closer to the person. Like, what else can you do to make them scary? So
yeah,
I do agree with you that on the whole they're not particularly well utilised in this story, but I do like the bit of River's arm. That does, because it's just horrible to think of her trapped. The only way she can get out of it is to break her wrist. That's horrible. And she does it.
Yeah, I read you. It's but yeah, there was other things as well. I won't go into anything else with these angels, but the only other thing that kind of got me as well was the whole point of, well, the resolution, I guess, to how they escape at the end of Blink was when the TARDIS dematerializes, the angels are stuck where they are because they're all looking at each other.
Oh, that's right.
That's the rules of, like, you know. So there are numerous scenes throughout this story. As an example, when they're in the hotel and that guy's there at the beginning, or a bit later when Rory's there, you see weeping angels at either side of them in the hallway. And there's nowhere else there for there to go. So when they do the off and they run away into the lift, those two weeping angels are clearly looking at each other because they're at other ends of the hallway. But yet the rules suddenly don't apply, like they can, even when they're being observed by one another, like they were at the end of Blink. That doesn't matter anymore. Like in this story, they can just still, you know.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah,
that's a really good point. Yeah, again, there is a million plot holes in this, and that's another one to add to the list, which I hadn't even thought about. I think that is the thing. It does feel like there's a bit too many of them. It's like it seems like everywhere there's weeping angels. Just before we move away from the angels, though, I am curious. Do you like the bit in Flesh and Stone where we see the angel move? I think it's only a couple of times we see it, and maybe once or twice. But do you think it was better when we saw just a little bit of movement from the head turn or whatever, or do you prefer it like when they are just a static threat?
I don't know. I think it is quite cool
don't
to
do
see
it again.
them. Yeah, I think it is quite cool because they did. It almost gives you like a glimpse, like a peek behind the curtain.
Yes,
like you're not supposed to see them move in any way, but when you do see those, it's only a small movement, is it? It's only a little thing.
I think it's just the head slightly turns to the left or whatever.
Yeah. It is a little like, oh, we're seeing something that the characters are not seeing. It's like a little thing. It's nothing in terms of like breaking the fourth wall or anything. It's not meant to do that, but it's just a cool little, as the viewer, you know, we're going to give you a tiny little nugget of. So I do like that. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah.
But they don't do it again. I just wonder why they decided to backtrack and think, no, that was a mistake. We won't do that again. Because a lot of the angels are actors as well, which is incredible. Like they look like props. They look like stone statues. And some of them, one or two, are actual people inside a suit painted grey. And that's quite incredible. I mean, that's some incredible makeup going on there. I don't know if that's the case in this story, but certainly in Flesh and Stone, when they're moving, you've actually got people inside the suits. And I think you just add something to it. Just want to quickly talk about that bit with River while we're on the subject. You know, with the bit where it grabs her arm and she does actually break her wrist to get out of it, which is a horrible thing to think about. But then there's that scene, which has now become a bit more ironic, I suppose, because the Doctor mends River's wrist using some regeneration energy and she goes ballistic. She's like, don't waste your regeneration energy. What do you think you're doing? And he's like, oh, it's fine. And of course, now with the whole Timeless Child and endless regenerations, or whatever, that kind of doesn't have the same impact. But at the time, I thought that was a really cool moment. I was like, oh my God, the Doctor's just given away some of his precious regeneration energy. But now it's not precious anymore, is it?
Yeah, it has become a bit of a...
Or is it? I mean, people are probably screaming at me and say, no, you've got it all wrong. It's still precious. I don't know. But what do you think to that moment anyway, when he's giving away some of his regeneration energy to mend River's wrist? We've never seen the Doctor do anything like that before. He didn't sort of go back to Adric and say, don't worry about this. I've got this. I'm going to bring Adric back to life. Well, probably because Adric was scattered across the universe in bits, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's it depends on how far you want to dive down the rabbit hole with this one, I think, because there's also another thing to consider. At this point, we have to remember that the Doctor's up to his last regeneration. If you don't take into account the timeless child thing, if you don't take that into account, then at this point, the Doctor was up to his last thing. So would he have enough surplus regeneration to do this anyway? That's unclear. Well, he obviously did. But so the regeneration energy thing, while it used to be oh my God, this is like uber important and sacred, I suppose. As we get further on into the newer era of Doctor Who, it just seems to be just tossed around like sweets at Halloween.
Yeah.
You know, anyone can have some.
Have a bit of regeneration.
Yeah.
Hey, let me top up your regeneration glass there. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, because River did the same thing as well. She used all of her regeneration energy, didn't she, to save the Doctor in Let's Kill Hitler. So that when she did that,
such a bad episode.
Yeah, that depleted all of her regeneration energy. So she doesn't have any left, and now the Doctor's kind of repaying a favour, I guess. But yeah, you can go down the rabbit hole, and then when you factor in the timeless child thing, which makes this irrelevant anyway, how far do you want to go down all of it? I don't know, but it was a nice scene, though. It was a good scene.
Yeah, I think it's a good scene. But what do you think of River in it? A lot of people say she's annoying. She can be written as annoying. I didn't think she was too bad in this. I thought there was a couple of witty dialogue from her. I think Moffat is good at the sharp dialogue. I've got to say that. I mean, he does, for me, Moffat's humour more often than not does land correctly. And there's some really sharp dialogue in this episode, I thought. So River comes out with a couple of good one-liners and stuff. Like I just little things, you know, like when the Doctor shows her the book and she's like, "Oh, I don't like the cover," and you know, I thought River was quite good in this story, and I like the fact she's there with the Doctor at the end when he loses Amy and Rory. I thought that was good. I think River should be there to be with the Doctor at that point, because the good thing with River, even though she can be annoying, is she is quite straight talking, and that's what the Doctor needs at that point. She's like, Stop moping around, come on. And she's flying the TARDIS, because we know that River can fly the TARDIS, and she's looking after the Doctor, but she's not letting him sit there and wallow and be full of self-pity and stuff. She's telling him to get on with it. And I think River is I think it's right that River's in this story. I think she should be in the story. I think she's good in it.
I think so as well, mate. I think there were two. I didn't mind River in this, to be honest with you. I prefer her when but there are some stories where the flirting gets a little bit, close to the line.
Yeah.
Those ones I'm not a huge fan of, but I think it was important for her to be in this story because she is the Pond's daughter. So it's kind of right that she's there as they leave.
Yeah.
And also it plays into this thing that we've seen a few times throughout Who, where it's clear that the Doctor shouldn't travel by himself. He shouldn't be alone.
Mm.
And Amy says that, doesn't she? She said, don't travel,
Yeah.
She actually says that, don't travel alone. And River says it as well. So I think when the Doctor is really feeling it at the end, he's really down, I think River provides a bit of needed strength and support, because when that happens at the end and we cut to the Doctor and River in the TARDIS, like you said, she's operating all the controls and doing her thing. He's just sat there looking very, very depressed.
He's destroyed, yeah.
Whereas River, even though she's just lost her parents, she's got a brave face on and she's just carrying on as you need to do. So I think that's also needed. So yeah, I agree, dude. I think she was needed in this story. And I also don't mind her. I think she brings a good level of weight to the scenes that she's in with the Doctor, I think is the best way to put it. She's not just there because she's there for the sake of it. Let's just put another character in. Let's just plop her in.
Yeah.
She's actually there to serve a purpose, which is to remind the Doctor that, first of all, you don't mess around with your regeneration energy. That's a no-no. That's a slap around the face. You don't do that. And then second of all, it's look, don't worry. Everything's going to be cool. But just...
And she's and she's she is the daughter of the Ponds as well. So as it is their last episode, I think it's right that she is there. Mm-hmm. What do you think of the send off though for the Ponds? Because as I said earlier, I think I like the fact that Moff tries to do something different, and it is unusual that they're trapped in this supposedly part of New York that the Doctor cannot visit or whatever. It doesn't really work, but it's an interesting idea that I think doesn't really have the payoff. But if you think about it too much, but I like the fact that Moff tried something a bit different. But what do you think? As it's the Pond sort of goodbye ep.
Yeah, as an exit episode, a goodbye to the companions. I think it's probably it was fairly well done. My only I'm sorry to be a negative ninny, I really am, but my only problem with it is that I was just bored waiting for it to happen. Because they got into it so early on in the story. Like it became less about a cool, frightening weeping angel story and more about, right, when are the Ponds actually going to go? So because Rory went off to get coffee within the first, 5 minutes of the story, and then he encounters the angel and all the rest of it, then it becomes part rescue story for Rory, part they're always going to chase him, they're always going to find him. Amy's obviously not going to leave him. That one thing that Moffat did really well was really cement them to, which is a far throw from all of those early episodes where we felt like Amy just didn't really give a crap about Rory at times. And she was always after the Doctor and flirting with him, and Rory was sidelined when the Doctor's around. So we've come a long way. So that was cool that he wrote them to be just, it doesn't matter if you're going to go, I'm going to jump with you. So that was really nice to see from that perspective. But it just happened. It just was such a long build up throughout the story. And the last 10 minutes are really nice. It's quite touching and it's not a bad send off. But yeah, it was just that, right, okay, we've spent 40 minutes getting to this point. So yeah, I mean, it would have been cool to have it more about saving a stranger from the weeping angels. So like either the detective guy at the beginning or the art collector millionaire guy who's got a vested interest, it seems, in angels and stuff like that. It would have been cool to do like the angels are attacking Manhattan and they've gone after this guy, let's save him. And then in the last act of the story, oh no, the Ponds are now in danger, they're going to go. That would have been better for me. But, I do see especially big fans of the Ponds. I can imagine they both love and are really upset with this one.
No, I think it's a good point. Because the detective guy at the start, I mean, there isn't really any point to his character. We don't see him again. In my memory, I thought he was part of the story. I'd forgotten he was only in the beginning, and not really sure what that was for, really, apart from just to pad out the episode. But it's weird because other parts of it feel quite rushed. I mean, I know you said you were bored, but it does feel like like you said, there's not a lot going on. We are really just racing towards the exit of the Ponds, I suppose. But it doesn't feel like there's much time in the story to sort of breathe, if you like. It's just literally rushing towards that last 10 minutes. But things I do like about it as an exit story for the companions is, like you said, I think over the course of the Ponds era, we've got to see them grow closer. That Dalek story, there's a scene in that I remember when, Amy finally lets Rory know how much he means to her. What's that? Asylum of the Daleks, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
So I think from that point onwards, we're seeing that, their relationship has grown, and like any relationship, they've gone through good times and bads. And I do feel like they've become very close as a couple in the story. So that makes it more heartbreaking that they're going to stick together no matter what that means. So they're prepared to do anything to be together. So I like that. And I also liked the fact that it did bring Amy's story full circle. So I'd completely forgotten that we get to see young Amelia Pond at the end. And I found that last couple of minutes really, really touching. So this is the sort of thing I like about the Moff. So he's got this whole thing in the story about the Melody Pond book, which is he can't skip forward because as he's reading it, it's making things come into reality. So, it's a typical Moffat strange idea, but I like it. And of course, the Doctor rips out the last page, and that's going to have some significance. So he remembers as he's in the TARDIS to read the last page, and I thought that was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So he reads the last page. It's Amy telling him not to. What does she say? Not to be alone.
Not to be alone. Yeah.
Not to travel alone, and she tells him how much that he means to them. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. Loved all that, and then we get the shot of young Amelia Pond in the garden, which is where Matt's Doctor first meets her. So I thought the way it brings the Pond story full circle was done really well. I loved all that. I found it really emotional, and I thought it was beautiful. But as I said, if you leave it at that, brilliant. But then if you start thinking about, well, can't the Ponds just get on a train and move to a different part of the country so the Doctor can go back and visit the, if you then start sort of looking into it too much, it does fall apart a little bit. But yeah, if you just take it on surface value, I thought it was a lovely, lovely way to bring the Pond story full circle. So I think that's why I liked it. But it definitely pulled on the heartstrings. I mean, I'll tell you what I find with this era of Doctor Who compared to sort of like the 13th Doctor era, it's almost the opposite thing, right? So for me, what I liked about this story was not the actual story itself, but the cast. So the cast really bring this alive, and I care about them. So even when stuff doesn't make sense, like the sort of Pond's exit and the Doctor not being able to go back and save them, it doesn't bother me too much because I just thought the cast just works so well together that I care about what's going on, even if it's not perfect. Whereas in the modern era, I quite like some of the stories, but I don't feel any sort of warmth or connection, particularly to the Doctor or the companion. So it's almost like the opposite thing. So for example, with Demons of the Punjab, I like the story, but the cast sort of they're a bit insignificant in it. Whereas in the Moffat era, it's quite often the opposite. You can get a pretty sort of average story like this, but I'm invested in it because of the cast and the fact I care about the characters so much.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And I think that was for me, that was one of the best things about the RTD era, is that the characters were so strong, but more so the way RTD can write character stuff.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So even some of the mediocre stories are still good because of the cast and the way the characters have been written and their interactions and so on. The Moff has also got that. I don't think he's quite as strong as Russell as the character stuff, but he's not far off. So you're right. Those two eras were really the casting and the characters were bang on most of the time. Whereas when we get into Capaldi's stuff, even though the Moff is still doing his thing pretty decently to a degree, it just felt like they had gone off the boil a little bit with these things, because depending on how you view the Capaldi era, I think I mentioned it a while ago. His era is the era that I watched the least out of all of the New Who stuff, and that's because I just can't get emotionally invested or attached to Capaldi at times, but certainly some of the supporting cast members and so on. It feels like I don't want to get into all that, but you're absolutely right. With the Moff stuff, much like Russell, he's very, very good most of the time at the casting and the character stuff. And I think for this one, if it wasn't for the fact that if it was an exit episode for the Ponds, then the score would be very low for me. I'm talking like really low. But the fact that the Ponds, both Arthur Darvill and Karen Gillan, are very good in it, and they were good in it for a while up to this point, that brings a score up. But dude, if they weren't in it, then this would be like a really bad episode. And like I said, the last 10 minutes are really good.
Yeah,
it's emotional and it is sad. It's always sad to see companions go most of the time. So it's always sad. But yeah.
And the bit of Matt running across the bridge in New York and putting on the glass, I don't know. It all works for me. I just thought, it's really nice to see them in New York as well, proper location. Because I forget. I think is it the Dalek story where they were supposed to be in New York, but I think they just superimposed the TARDIS in front of the Statue of Liberty, and then the rest of it's Cardiff. But we're properly in New York this time. We can, we've got some great shots of New York itself.
Well,
and
we're only in Central Park.
Oh, Central Park, yeah.
Yeah, the rest of New York is actually Wales.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So it's just, I know what you're saying, yeah. But we do get that nice shots of Central Park then, with him like on the bridge, and Matt putting on the glasses at the end that Amy was wearing, I thought was nice. And but the thing is, when I talk about Moffat's sharp dialogue, I mean, stuff like that, when the Doctor's like, oh, those glasses make your eyes look all liney, and she's like, what? And he's like, oh no, they are anyway. It's moments like that I just think are fun, and the Moffat throws in loads of little bits like that every episode. So even if it's not a good episode, you always get little funny moments like that. And but I just love that ending when he put her glasses on, and they really suit Matt as well.
They
he
do,
looks great in those glasses.
I think they were supplied for Matt by the costume department to fit his head, because the whole time that Amy's wearing them, every few seconds she's having to push them back up her face, up her nose. So I think they're a bit big for her, but they definitely suit Matt though. He looks great in those glasses. But that scene as well, no, I'm not going to go into it. No.
No, go on.
Well,
what were you going to say?
After that initial bit where they were just chilling out in Central Park reading, and Rory goes off, how many days had gone past after that point? It must be 24 hours later, or at least a couple of days.
I know, yeah, I thought that as well.
He legs back, and
the page is still there.
Yeah, the hamper's still there. Nothing's moved.
Still there,
this is the middle of New York, right? Central Park. That would have been gone within seconds. Like after they had left, that would have been gone within seconds. So, yeah, but then
I did think the same. Actually, it's weird. I don't remember thinking that at the time, but I did think exactly the same thing. Like, what? It's one of those things. It's ridiculous, but I forgive it because it looks so good on screen. Like Matt running across that beautiful bridge. It just looks so good. I'll totally forgive it. But yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. My only other, before I get onto some positive stuff, my only other negative thing as well, in regard to the Ponds and their exit story and so on, there is one part of me that thinks that this was a bit wet, a little bit. If you think back to the majority of the time that Amy was the companion, she was always so feisty and strong, and always such a fighter. And although Rory was conveniently a lot of the time the opposite to that, he was a bit more of a, oh no, we shouldn't be doing this, we shouldn't be doing it, and she was always dragging him along and all the rest of it. I felt like their exit was a little bit like, I'd have liked to have seen them gone down swinging, gone down, fighting, and Amy properly just giving it, a real strong going down fighting sort of thing. But the way that it ends, it's a little bit like Rory's like, well, I need to save everyone, so I'm off. I'm going to jump off. And normally you'd expect Amy to be like, Rory, get back here right now. That's not happening, sort of thing. We're going to fight this and we're going to do it. But she's just like, oh, okay. Yeah. I don't agree, but well, all right, yeah, let's go then. Let's jump together. And I can see the sacrifice is meant to be for the bigger picture and everything. I totally get that. But just their characters, it just seems like, I don't know, like I think that's just me. I think that so many people like this story. I do get what you mean.
No, I do get what you mean, because they normally would be going down in a blaze of glory. In this, it does feel like they're defeated a bit.
Yeah.
So I do know what you're saying.
Yeah, but because so many people like it, I'm sure it's just me. It's one of those stories where the rest of Who fandom is clicking, and it's like, this is amazing, and I'm like, oh, I can't see it. Yeah.
I thought it was a good exit, but I can get what you mean. I mean, there is a million ways they could have left, but I thought it was all right. One thing that really infuriated me was that, so I was really looking forward to watching. I remember they did a storyboard for a scene that they didn't have time to film, or that the Chibnall wrote after the episode that never got filmed, and it was of Rora's dad. And I think I can't remember it, but I think Amy Roy's son turns up to see him on the doorstep.
Yeah.
It was called P.S.
Yeah.
And Chibnall wrote it for a DVD extra, apparently. And I thought, I'm really looking forward to seeing that, because I remember thinking it was a really beautiful, I remember thinking it's such a shame that they didn't actually film that, because the episode really needed it. It was a lovely way to finish the episode. And so I'm going through the DVD extras after watching the episode thinking, where is this blimmin' PS short? Because they did storyboards for it, didn't they? They didn't film it, but they did storyboards, and I think Arthur might have done the dialogue. I can't quite remember. It's not on the blimmin' DVD, dude. It's not on any DVD. And so I Googled it because I was getting really frustrated thinking, I've got the whole set here. It's got to be on one of these discs. There's no way they'd leave that off, because it was quite a big deal at the time. Everyone was like, have you seen the extra scene that they didn't film? Oh, it's lovely. And, Brian's back as the dad, and it's such a nice scene. Yeah, not on the DVD. And I Googled it. For whatever reason, maybe Chibnall wouldn't let him have it. It's not on the DVD, and you can find it online. I think it's on YouTube. But how is that not on the set?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I've not seeked it out on YouTube or anything.
Well,
but,
I meant to seek it out before we recorded, because I was going to watch it on the DVD and it wasn't on there. So I thought I'll find it on YouTube. It is on YouTube. I just haven't had chance to watch it. I will watch it later, but I remember it being a really nice little scene, and wishing that they'd actually got round to recording it, because obviously Brian is going to wonder where they are, isn't he? And we never see the Doctor go back, I don't think, and say to him, oh, by the way, Brian, your kids are stuck in 19 whatever. So it was a great little scene. I didn't even realize that Chibnall had written it until I Googled it to try and find out. Cool. I was trying to find out what it was called, because I thought it's got to be on here. I was going through everything on the disc. I was putting in every disc. Strange that they left it off. But anyway, there it is. Yeah. But that annoyed me. I was looking forward to watching that.
What did you think to Matt in this one? Because normally it kind of plays up to this idea, doesn't he? They've said it before. The Doctor doesn't like goodbyes and doesn't like endings and stuff like that. And I thought he played that really, really great.
Yeah.
This whole thing, and especially at the end, for me, the last 10 minutes are gold for this, from all the performances and stuff. But throughout the story, you get the feeling that the Doctor kind of knows what's coming. He because he's been around the block a few times, you get the feeling that he knows how this story is going to end, and especially they kind of do it visually, don't they? With you can't read the book, you're not supposed to know what's going to happen. And like you said, when he tears the last page out, that's all nice and stuff like that. But the way that Matt plays this one, sometimes they do a really good mix of him doing funny, quirky with the emotional stuff, but it felt like there wasn't enough time to do that, because a couple of scenes with River are quite cool, but for the most part, he is playing it really. You could tell that Matt Smith, not the Doctor, was upset that this was the last time that they were going to film with the Bonds and stuff. So I thought he had it was one of those really good emotional Matt stories where the acting in his face as well as what he was doing really told a picture. I thought he was really good in this.
Yeah, no, I thought Matt was superb in it. There's a good bit when he really starts to lose his bleep, when he says that they can't read forward in the book, spoilers, whatever. But then he says, oh, but we can read chapter titles. That's cool. And I thought, that's a nice idea. But then he sees the title of the last chapter, Farewell Amy or whatever, and he really goes mad, doesn't he? Because he's thinking, oh, no, I've read it now, so it's going to happen. And he really is angry. And River's quite shocked, isn't she? She's like, calm down. I thought, Matt is so good at showing humour, emotion, rage. He's so good at all those different things. He totally sells it to me. That's why I love him so much as the Doctor. From the get-go, this is going to be an emotional episode for him. And he totally pulls it off. He's brilliant. Yeah. He's absolutely brilliant in it. Yeah. He's just so on fire all the time, Matt. Yeah. He's brilliant.
No, I agree. No, he's brilliant in this, actually. In most of them, And he really is climbing up the ladder quick. You know, every time we review a Matt Smith story, I just fall in love with his Doctor a little bit more.
I love him.
Every time. We were always fans anyway, but just the more that we watch and the more that you appreciate just how good he was as the Doctor is great, really. And what did you think to some other cast members then? So what did you think to Mike McShane then as Grail?
Oh, I was really pleased to see Mike McShane in this, because I used to love him in Whose Lines Anyway, and I recognised him straight away. I was like, hey, it's Mike McShane. So, yeah, I thought good casting. I thought Mike played Grail quite well. He's, it was just nice to see him in Doctor Who, Mike McShane.
Yeah. I remember.
Do you remember him from that?
From Whose Line? Yeah. But also, he's done he went for a phase of doing like really big Hollywood type films, didn't he? He was in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and then Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He's voiced something in a Bug's Life, and but no, he
did something called Thunder Pig. I don't know what Thunder Pig. Don't know what that was. Oh, I like the title.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but no, he was. I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked him. I liked him in this.
Yeah, and then what about the detective guy at the beginning? Not a huge part, but
no, but he was good, wasn't he? I mean, that's what I mean. In my mind, I thought he was in it a lot more. So, no, I thought he was decent. I don't know what the actor's name was. No idea, but he was good.
Yeah, it's Detective Sam Garner. It was played by Rob David, and like you, I'm struggling to figure out the point of that scene and that character. But I think it was probably twofold. Probably just to set up the story as a whole, like, oh my God, the angels are back.
Yeah, I think so.
And they're bad. But maybe it was also a bit of foreshadowing as well, where almost exactly the same thing happens to Rory as it does for this guy. Same hotel, even the same pajamas at the end in the bed.
I did think that, because I was thinking, what's going on?
Yeah. So I think that scene was meant to set it up so that as you were watching through the story, you were like, oh my God, Rory, no, this happened to the other guy.
Yeah.
This happened to that guy at the beginning, sort of thing.
It was a good pre-title sequence as well, because I did think that. I thought, blimey, we're nearly 4 minutes in and we haven't even had the titles yet. But it was a good setup, I thought. As I said, it's probably the scariest bit with the angels. After that, but it's a good pre-title sequence, I thought, with him.
Yes. Yeah. And there aren't many other.
No, it's not really anyone else.
Really, just some people knocking about in the background. Okay, so the only other thing I've got on my notes is not other than the emotional theme that was running throughout the end, especially when Amy and Rory hop off the building, and then a little bit later or shortly after that, when they're in the graveyard and Amy and Rory go, and then the Doctor's crying and stuff. Really, really lovely music from Murray. Other than that, there wasn't much else going on, which was surprising, because I remember there was lots of music throughout the story, but nothing really, and they certainly didn't reuse I Am the Doctor. They didn't do that stuff much anymore.
Did they? No.
So some really nice emotional stuff for Murray music-wise towards the end, but other than that, don't really remember much else in terms of themes or story up to that point.
No, I thought Murray's music was nice in it. I guess nothing stand out, but it definitely suited the story. I was going to say, I mean, in terms of emotion, I think that obviously, like you, the last 10 minutes hits home. But there was one scene which I felt was possibly meant to be emotional, but actually made me not laugh, but sort of smile, which is when the Doctor goes, "I'm sorry, Amy, Rory's dead." And I felt like going, again? It's like, the problem is, it's a bit like the angels. It didn't have any impact, and I feel it's supposed to. But that is one of the sort of flaws of the Moffat era, is I think, one of the flaws is that Rory has died so many times that it just doesn't have any impact at all, really, in this, when the Doctor says stuff like that. And it should. Rory, he's a great character, and I really like Rory, and I like Arthur Darvill. I think he plays him brilliantly. But it just surprised me when the doctor said that instead of feeling like, oh no, I was actually smiling, thinking again, actually even Rory makes a joke about it himself, doesn't he?
When they're on the rooftop, yeah.
He's like, oh, I've died a million times, and what's one more going to hurt, sort of thing. Which I felt like was the Moffat just acknowledging that, yeah, I have killed him quite a few. Why did the Moffat kill him so many times? I really thought there was going to be more to that.
Yeah, I think it's meant to play up to... Oh, no, it's not that. I was going to say that's the boy who waited sort of thing. That's the Centurion thing, isn't it? But
yeah,
I'm not sure. I think it's just meant to... I don't know. In a way, it's cool. But on the other hand, it kind of makes Rory just a bit of an expendable person at times,
It does take away from the impact, doesn't it?
A little bit.
I will say that. It does. Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But no, I haven't really got anything else to say, dude.
Okay. Scores then, dude. It's you to go first, mate. What you got?
Yeah, I get the feeling I'm going to be a bit higher than you on this one. I'm going to give it an 8.
An 8?
Yeah, cool. I thought it was really... Right. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to give this a 6.
A 6. Okay, fair enough.
I didn't think it was average to give it a 5. Certainly wasn't middle of the road. The last 10 minutes do it for me and bring it up a bit. But I have to admit, I was very bored throughout most of the story. It didn't seem to have enough weight to it, and the angels just became diluted after a few minutes for me. So a 6 from me.
Okie dokie.
An 8 from you. Okie dokie. Right, we had some audio reviews in from our awesome listeners. Let's get to those. The first one, as usual, from Down Under. It's Sammy Satine.
G'day, Gary and Adam. Sammy Satine here. So, The Angels Take Manhattan. Too long a title, if you ask me. I went to the Bethesda Fountain in Central Park in September 2014. It's a lovely fountain, well worth a visit when we can travel again. I also have some Big Chief cherubs, and the gravestone that came with the 2-pack came with one side the inscription for Blink and the other side the one from this story. I've even got a few Weeping Angels Statue of Liberty figures, even if it's far-fetched that it becomes an angel in the first place, given how many eyes are on it all the time. But enough about me. I like the story. I just never got as attached to Amy Rory as other people have. I like them, they're just not Donna or Bill. Big Finish did a sort of prequel to this in Diary of River Song Series 6, Carnival of Angels. I give it 7 Bethesda fountains out of 10. See ya.
A 7 from Sammy.
7 from Sammy, yeah.
Yeah, nice collection by Sammy.
I don't think I could sleep if I had those cherubs or whatever on the side. That freaked me out.
I had at one point this glow-in-the-dark Statue of Liberty angel.
Oh, I've got that somewhere, yeah.
I had it somewhere. I don't know if I've got it anymore, but yeah, quite creepy.
Dude, I've just realised we've now reviewed all of Series 7. I'm just updating the list. Oh my gosh.
Are we done, are we?
That means 7? We never have to watch it again.
Are we done, are we?
Yeah, I've just updated the list, and that's weird. I didn't realise it yet.
No, we haven't done all of Series 7, dude.
Oh, no, we haven't. Sorry. We've done all of the first part. I forgot it's split in 2.
Come on, mate. This is a 2-part series thing.
Of course it is. I've forgotten about that.
Yeah. This was the Moff bag, wasn't it? Some dude higher up the chain at the BBC talking to his American counterpart. He's like, yeah, we should do that. And the Moff's like, no, we shouldn't. Do you want to be fired? We should do that. Absolutely. Let's do a two-part series.
Let's split it in 2.
Yeah, I think we've actually got to do the one that follows this story. We need to do the Snowmen and the Bells of St. John.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
And the Name of the Doctor, which we'll
I'm thinking we've already done the bits because I watched them over Christmas. Oh, my whole world's gone timey-wimey.
Indeed.
As if Moffat's got inside my head and he's messing with me.
But yeah, thank you very much, Sammy. 7 from Sammy. Let's move on. This is Mr. Joe Turner.
Overall, The Angels Take Manhattan is an enjoyable episode elevated by its ending. The cold open at the start intrigues the viewers immediately and is incredibly sinister. The Winter Quarry was a great idea. An old 1930s hotel really complements the Angels, but I wanted to spend more time there than we did. The scene where they see Rory's future self die in the bed is very creepy, and a scene I couldn't watch when I was younger. I love the score Together or Not At All, which plays over the top of Rory and Amy jumping off the Winter Quay to create the paradox. I love how they hug, as it ties up their relationship so well, and shows how far they've come since Series 5. Finally, why did Rory's curiosity have to get the better of him? He got so close to the TARDIS and decided, actually, That's an interesting gravestone. I'm going to turn around and go and get sucked back in time by an angel. But when Amy goes, it always gets me teary. Matt and Karen's performance is fantastic. Lastly, the shots of Matt retrieving the last page, as he runs across the bridge, and the slow-mo of the pigeons flying is beautiful. And the episode overall provides us with a fitting end to Amy's fairy tale arc. So overall, I give this episode an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you.
8.5, dude.
Those lovely flapping pigeons.
Yeah, indeed. And I do agree with you, Joe, as well. It was just utterly at the end where they're just about to leave and go into the TARDIS, and Rory's like, oh, hold on a minute.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Come and look at this thing. You just thought, oh.
No, you're like, no.
You just wanted to leap through the TV and kick him in the back, and kick him all the way to the
Get
TARDIS.
in there.
Yeah. But no, I agree, Joe. It's yeah, okay, an 8.5 from Joe. Moving on, this is TARDIS Net 66.
The Angels Take Manhattan is a story I like a lot. It has lots of flaws, but it's probably my favourite story of Series 7. A lot of it comes down to the fact that Amy and Rory are my favourite companions of the modern series, and I think their exit is handled very well, with Amy giving up the Doctor, maturing and committing to Rory, moving beyond her childhood to live an adult life. And I think the performances from the main cast are great, with some great emotional moments. I also like the way the story is told in the form of a book. I think it's a very clever storytelling device. I think the Weeping Angels had been overused by this point, to a point where they have no thread or impact in this story. And the flirty and romantic relationship with River is something I've always found uncomfortable, especially with how sexualised it is. And although the exit works, I think the logistics of Amy and Rory's exit has a lot of plot holes. As an exit for Amy and Rory, I think it's very good, but as a story, it's not one I usually go back to.
Oh. Not one, okay.
Well, to be fair, I haven't gone back to this in yonks. Maybe that's why I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. It's not one I go to either, really.
Yeah, Regia. Yeah. So, yeah, it was... I completely agree, and I think that's a common theme that we've picked up on, and when you talk to other Who fans, it's like, yep, there are some parts of it that are very good, but the plot holes are just immense. We could do a whole podcast show on the plot holes in this story, but okay. It's interesting that TARDIS doesn't give us a score either. He's just like, yeah, I like this or I didn't like it. See you later. So thank you very much for that, TARDIS Net. I think overall you were kind of middle of the road, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Lastly, this is Neil Cam.
What about you? So, the Angels Take Manhattan. I'm going to cut right to the chase. The departing scene for Amy and Rory was excellent. I thought the display of emotion from all involved in that scene was outstanding, and I think it's a very strong departure for Amy and Rory, who have been a great addition to Doctor Who. It is the end of an era, and I think Matt Smith in particular is on top form here. The 11th Doctor is clearly devastated that they're leaving. Regards the actual story itself, decent enough, not amazing. I think when it comes to Weeping Angels stories, a lot of people just immediately compare it to Blink, and they're never going to be as good as that because it was like one of the greatest of all time. But it's solid enough. I liked the idea of the Statue of Liberty being a Weeping Angel. What I'll say as well is that Murray Gold is on top form here. A couple of great tracks from this story, especially when the companions depart. Really emotional, well-written music, well-composed music, should I say. So all in, I'm going to give this story a 7.5 out of 10, but I feel that the departure of the companions is one of the greatest in the entire series. Cheers.
Okie dokie.
Nice one, yes.
Neil liking the departure for the Ponds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. The music at the end, I did really like that score at the end. Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, cheers, Neil, and thank you to our other audio reviewers for your audio clips. Thanks for taking the time to do that. I'm going to get to our socials now quickly. I'm going to rattle through some of these. Before I do, we had a written review in from those dudes over at The Wandering Slitheen. And so there's three of them. So first up, Joe.
Great name.
Yeah, Joe says, I really dislike this episode.
Oh,
I remember thinking it was good when I first watched it, but now I don't like it. It's a bit of a mess, and Rory and Amy's goodbyes, quote unquote, are not great in my opinion. The angels don't bring much to the story, and the Statue of Liberty, well, the whole book thing is a nice touch, but gets little screen time due to the many other plots. I do like the scenes when the cherub angels blow the candle out. River was nice to see again, but overall, I don't think this episode is great. 4 out of 10, a 4. Samuel says the angels get less scary with each appearance, eventually arriving in New York about as scary as a group of stone unicorns. The idea of the angels using a hotel to farm time energy is very clever, but the story gets far too convoluted. On an emotional level, the exit is very well done, but on a story level, it's quite frankly stupid and makes absolutely no sense. Overall, mixed feelings, winding up with 5 cherub angels out of 10. And lastly, Raf says Angels in Manhattan is dreadful. It butchers 2 amazing companions and wrecked a great villain. Yes, it had some nice ideas, such as the angels using farm to get energy, but it also has some stupid ideas, such as the Statue of Liberty being an angel, which when combined with the whole, which holds an image of angel in itself an angel, is itself an angel. Yeah, I remember that quote from a previous story. Makes no sense. So you're telling me that every picture and postcard of the Statue of Liberty is a weeping angel? Question mark. Nice try, but this subpar story is nothing more than a 3 out of 10. Crikey, Moses.
I just heard Moffat fall into a bottle of, bottles falling from the table. What do you reckon the Statue of Liberty is actually made of, dude? Because I've got it on Wiki.
I think it's made of iron or steel.
Yes, it is. It's cast iron and stainless steel with outside is mostly copper. So it's not even a statue. Well, it is a statue, isn't it? It's a statue,
that's a bit of a cheat, though.
It's not made of stone anyway, let's put it that way.
I'm cheating a little bit because I've been to the top of the Statue of Liberty, so I've had the whole tour and all that stuff. But yeah.
It's not made of stone, let's put it that way.
No. The more you dig into it, the more you understand and realise just how drunk on red wine Stephen Moffat was when he was writing this one. Oh dear. Thank you very much, guys, from the Wandering Slovene podcast. Thank you very much. Over on the socials, on Twitter, Christopher D said it's a great episode with a very emotional exit for the Ponds. Also, the angels are finally scary again. I have no issues with it. Nice one, Chris.
Yeah.
The Doctor Who Show, another good podcast, said weirdest resolution ever. The TARDIS can't take the Doctor to New York to ever see the Ponds again. Apparently he doesn't want to jump a train, bus or plane, etc. Geez, he must have secretly hated them. Yeah, that's a very good point. Our writer Jordan Shortman says, remember it being good on its original broadcast, but future viewings have failed to impress. So many plot holes, good performances from all around, and the final lines and appearance from young Amy always make me feel sad. Surprisingly, never been a big Amy fan. Yes. Rick Moran from the Doctor Who Appreciation Society says, more mess, just a very generous 3 out of 10. Due to the cast doing their best to work with the little material they have. Oh, Rick. Dan Johnson says, I feel like the Weeping Angels have their weakest appearance here. They, for a recognisable fair face than for the story. Okay, I get you. Saying that it is a beautifully written episode with a heartbreaking end, gives it a 7.
Okay.
Jessica, awesome_Jess says, fantastic episode, except for the fact it makes me cry every time I watch it. Angels were actually scary, except for Lady Liberty, a bit of a stretch, but that's Who for you. 9 baby weeping angels out of 10.
Cool.
Tom at Titan Sci-Fi says, love this ep. Weeping angels, cherub angels, and the Statue of Liberty angel. The book is their present and future with the sad departure of the Ponds. A 10 out of 10.
A 10.
A 10 from Tom. Crikey. Zombie Who says the majority of the episode is quite average, sadly, and I'd say it's the weakest angel story. However, the last 5 minutes are amazing. River Song is quite annoying, I find, as well, which doesn't help. I'd say overall, probably a 6.5. Says the poster's amazing, though.
It is, yeah. This was when they did the epic film-style posters, isn't it?
That's
for each episode, yeah.
Was it a Lee Binding job, those posters? Can't remember.
Don't know.
Yeah, they are very good, though. Chippy T says, likes are the book twist, creepy cellar cherubs, the Doctor angry at River, dislikes River, giant Liberty statue, and River. Matt shows us once again that a great Doctor he is, a solid 7. Did I forget to mention that River is annoying? Oh, Chippy. Mark Atkinson of previous podcast fame.
Yes.
Says it's not as though. By the way, Mark was previously part of the Proctor Who podcast, which is very good. So check that one out as well. Yeah. But Mark says it's not as good as it could have been. River is as smug and annoying as ever. I think the show assumes we're in love with Amy as much as Moffat obviously is. In brackets, I personally wasn't. So her leaving isn't as emotional as I think it is. Matt Smith is great as usual, though. Gives it a very precise 7.9 out of
7.9, yeah. Mark's always very precise. Yeah.
Lost on Gallifrey podcasts. Crikey, we're having all the podcasts this week.
I know, this is cool. Podcast love.
Yeah, Lost on Gallifrey podcast. They're lovely chaps as well over there. Go and give that a listen. So it's the end of the ponds and a great era for me. The Weeping Angel Battery Farm idea is immense. The noir atmosphere, unreal, and Matt River location and music all fab. But a glaring plot hole undermines the lot. A story that succeeds in every area apart from perhaps the one it needed to. Yes. Sarah Louise, the running Whovian. This story intrigued me from the opening scene where the PI meets himself. The angels were initially scary but lost their impact as the episode progressed. The book being integral to the plot was great, and Amy telling River, be a good girl and look after him, made me smile. 7 out of 10.
Nice one, Sarah, yeah.
Yes. Hendrix Chaplin says, mediocre at best. Amy and Rory should have left at the end of season 6. The foundations are there for a great story, but Moffat really dropped the ball on this one. The last 5 minutes is effective, and I recommend watching Chris Chibnall PS after.
Yes, well,
if you can find it. Yeah. Brian Chapman says, the Moff gave us too much timey and not enough why-me in this Series 7 finale. 7A finale. The Cherubs were a nice addition, but the rest was a letdown, worse than what poor Amy and Rory deserved. 6.5 out of 10. And lastly, from Rotide. Concept is good. Execution, however, let down a great deal. The ending with Amy and Rory was a cop-out. Instead of the Doctor having to deal with the loss of his friends who died, he can't just visit their time. This is the Doctor we are talking about, right? And again, a very precise 4.666 out of 10. But no, I think a lot of people bring that up. It's like, why can't the Doctor just go back to the time that they were zapped back to? And
it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. I'm sure Moffat could think of give him another bottle. He can come up with a solution.
I'm sure he's got some answer to that somewhere.
He would have.
We had just a few over on Facebook. Aaron Ball says, a good story, although it could have been longer as it felt so rushed. I love Matt in this. He is fantastic. And their exit is emotional, but just felt too rushed and not enough time to breathe. Charlie Turner says, I don't think that this episode is terrible, but it is the weakest of the Angel stories so far. It also has plot holes, like how the Statue of Liberty was able to move without anyone seeing it. The Statue of Liberty is made out of copper and not stone, so it would be impossible. Yeah, we get you, Charlie. Yep. He goes on to say, overall, minus the plot holes and the stuff I don't like about this episode, it gets an average 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Chris Vint says, it's one for me that could have given Amy and Rory a better goodbye. It's emotional for sure, but I would have preferred them both being able to say goodbye to the Doctor. Like Charlie said, the weakest outing for the Weeping Angels is it could have been different since we had Daleks. Yeah. And lastly, Toby Coleman says, I've never had the will to revisit this one, not because I thought it was bad, but because I was so upset. The story itself is timey-wimey with huge plot holes. At any given point, there is somebody looking at the statue. But that ending has me in bits, with the ending linking back to the 11th hour. A 6.5.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes. By the way, guys, in terms of Facebook, I don't really have the time to read them all out because with tweets, you obviously have to keep them relatively short, but people tend to go to town on Facebook and really go into depth. So if you want to read our other listeners' reviews on stuff, then just follow us on Facebook. You can read all those and comment there. But overall, dude, middle of the road, I would say. We had some people giving it some really good scores, 9s and 10s evens, but then we had some low ones like 3s and 4s and plenty of 6s. So I think overall, this is a middle of the road-ish, 6-ish out of 10, I think is the average.
Yeah, a lot of people saying it's the weakest Angel story as well. A lot of people saying that.
Yes. Rightio. Next week, bud, what we got?
Next week, back to the Sarah Jane Adventures with a story called Goodbye, Sarah Jane. What? This better not be sad. Can't be. We've got another series to go, yeah? So goodbye, Sarah Jane, next week.
Hopefully that's not as sad as it sounds.
Hopefully not.
Yes. There we go. Okay, dude. On that, I think we'll wrap there for 298.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much for coming back and listening to another episode of the Big Blue Box podcast. It was 298. Thank you so much to all of you for being with us. Those of you that have just jumped on board, it's good to have you here. And those of you that are coming back, for the long-time listeners and grizzled ancients, it's great to have you all back. Thank you very much for listening. Next week, as Adam said, we are back to Sarah Jane Adventures and the episode Goodbye, Sarah Jane Smith. We'll find out what that's all about. So please give that a watch. Get your DVDs out and give that a watch, because we'll be asking for your thoughts as always. And I can't believe we've only got 4 episodes left of all of Sarah Jane. That's crazy.
No.
Yeah. So in the meantime though, remember to head over to our website, bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our episodes from there, on there, way back from the beginning ones, all the way back to 2014. They're all on there. Plus we have loads of really cool reviews and articles from our writing team. Go and check that out as well. If you've listened to the podcast and you're not a subscriber, we hope you do. Whatever podcast app you listen to your podcast on, just give us a sub. You won't miss a show when it lands every Friday. And if you've got a second to leave a review or a rating for us on whatever app you listen to on, that'd be awesome, because that helps us out loads and loads. So thank you to those that have already left reviews. We're on the socials too, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Links on the website, or just do a search for us there. We chat Doctor Who throughout the week, so come and get involved over there. And we also have a free Discord server as well. There's a link to that on the website. Come and hang out with other Doctor Who fans and chat about lots of different stuff over there on Doctor Who. Chat about the new stuff that's coming up, modern Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who, merchandise, all sorts over there. So come and get involved. As I mentioned earlier, go and do yourself a favour. Go and get yourself a cup of tea, get settled in, then go and check out my co-host channel over on YouTube. It is The Geek's Handbag.
That's it, yeah. Go and have a look at my vids. And I'm also on all the socials, apart from TikTok. I'm not on TikTok.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
I don't even know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so go and give Adam a subscribe over on his YouTube channel. Tons of cool videos there. Loads and loads of really cool reviews, unboxings, everything. And the latest one, the autograph collection, is awesome. So go and check that out. And he's on the socials too. Until next week, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember...